Welcome back to the start of a new term at KMS. It's wonderful to see you all. We're really, really happy to have you all back in school finally after what seems like a really long time. Because we've been out of school for such a long time, I want to take this opportunity to talk to you about our roles and expectations of being part of the Kings Moncton family and make sure that we're all on the same page as we head together over this very important summer term now, where we head to make sure we finalise the academic year we have behind us and everything that's gone on. So as I said, Kings Moncton School is a family, and what I want to do is make sure that we are aware about how difficult the times have been for all of us over the past 2 years effectively. We have to remember that every single one of us has gone through lockdown. Staff, pupils, parents, all of us have experienced the challenges and difficulties of the COVID pandemic. And as a result of that, we need to be very understanding, empathetic, tolerant, and certainly very, very considerate of each other. And I can't stress that enough. It's really important you understand that everybody is going to have difficulties and challenges to overcome because of this pandemic. And therefore, we need to work together to make sure we bring each other through it as a whole rather than thinking as an individual. One of the most important things I want to reiterate is that despite lockdown, our standards haven't changed. I will not accept lower expectations on behaviour. I will not accept poor uniform. I will not accept students not doing their very best or applying themselves to the work and their study. Life continues, and so time passes on. And it's my job and the responsibility of the staff around you to make sure we do the very best for you. And by lowering our standards, we wouldn't be doing that. So my expectations remain as high as ever, and I expect the very best from you all. So what does it mean then to be part of the KMS family? Well, we talk about the family a lot. You hear me say that quite often in my assemblies when I'm speaking to people, because it's something that's very dear to my heart. Because the family care about each other, and we make sure we look out for each other, we make sure that we're all okay. We support each other. We're all going to stumble from time to time, and we're all going to face challenges. And these challenges are a lot easier to face when we're working and sharing them with others. And during the next term, those challenges are going to be there for all of us. Whether it's going to be CDG, Centre Determined Grades, for Key Stage 4 and Post 16. Whether it's going to be June summer examinations for the rest of you in Year 6 all the way through to Year 10. Whether it's going to be holding High School Musical in Butte Park, or running our charity walk, or doing our sports day in an innovative and different way because of the COVID restrictions. We're going to be facing lots of different challenges on top of what would normally happen in a school term. We have to work together to make sure we cope, thrive, and survive our way through it. And of course, we'll only help each other if we encourage each other. As you know, myself and the staff around you want the very best for everyone in the school. No matter what your ability is, what your career choice, we want the very best for you. And our motto is, be the best you can be. And it's our job, our role, and our privilege to try and get that for you. We want everyone to tolerate each other. We're not always going to agree. We're not always going to be the same. We're going to have different views, different beliefs, and different opinions. But it's really important we see each of those beliefs, opinions, and views as valid. That somebody has a right to hold them if that's what they want to believe. You don't have to agree with it, but you should be tolerant of it. And as such, we should accept and understand each other's opinions and make sure that we have a caring and nurturing society around us. We can always disagree, but we disagree in a way that is through thought and reasoned argument, not through screaming and shouting, and certainly not by raising our fists or getting aggressive or angry. What I don't want to hear is the use of foul language. What I don't want to hear is the use of poor names that you call each other. I don't want to hear slang, and I don't want to hear bullying terms in any sense of form. And remember, that's not just face to face, that's also on social media, because cyberbullying is not tolerated in our school. So our vision at Kings Moncton is to create an inclusive community built upon happy, innovative, and an outstanding learning environment. And for me, the most important thing is to be happy. That we need to enjoy coming to school, need to enjoy being around each other and each other's company. Because if we're happy and we enjoy doing what we do, we're going to be a success at it. I want to make sure that you're all prepared for a life which is enabling you to make decisions and discover yourself, your gifts, and your talents. I want you to fully realize your potential and achieve the highest standards of which you are capable of. In short, I want to make sure that you have the future that you deserve and you can be the best you can be. And never has that been more important than it is today. The one thing that COVID-19 has taught us is that life can be very unpredictable, very challenging, and change very quickly. And our role, our job, is to make sure that you, as our pupils, have the skills, acumen, and ability to move with that change, to thrive under such change, and to move forward despite the challenges you may suffer or may experience when things such as COVID come around the corner. And the economy is going to be in a difficult position for the ongoing future, certainly the short to medium term. You're going to be going out into a workforce which is having an economy which is recovering from the challenges that we've had over the past sort of 2 years. And we've got to make sure you have those skills and the abilities to shine and be the very best out there in front of all the competition you're going to face. And we've got to remember that COVID hasn't gone away. It's still there. And there may be another 2 years before we get back to any kind of normality, which we had pre-COVID. But that's not a problem because we'll learn to live with it day by day. We'll learn to accept things as the new normal as they are now. And we plan, prepare, we make sure that we get you ready for such changes. As you know, we have a motto in our school that when we speak and talk to individuals, we got to think before we open our mouths. Okay, and when we think, we make sure that what we say is true, it's helpful, it's inspiring, and it's necessary and kind. I don't want to hear name calling. I don't want to hear derogatory comments. I don't want to hear bullying around the school. There's no place for it in our society, our community, and certainly no place for it in our family. It won't be tolerated and it won't be acceptable. So please make sure you take care of each other, you respect each other, and you think before you speak. So, very briefly then, our school rules, as you know, there's no mobile phones. That hasn't changed. It never will. So don't think that just because we had a lockdown, you can start bringing your phones in and use them on site. You can't. That includes the playground. That includes school transport. That includes when you're out on gym and PE in areas such as Talabont or Roe Park. In the school hours, I do not want to see a mobile phone around the place. You can't be wearing makeup. That's not allowed in school. You have to be fully compliant to staff. Non-compliance is not acceptable. When staff tell you to do something, you just do it. And you do your very best and you come prepared for school. As you know, you can't borrow equipment because of COVID regulations. So therefore, you must make sure you bring everything you need in order to fully access the curriculum and do the very best you can do. That includes calculators, rulers, pens, pencils, and the like. There's a simple rule of thumbs, and basically, you know me, I'm very much straight down the line. There are no grey areas. You abide by the rules. If you decide to break the rules, then there's going to be consequences for it. I tell you the rules, I make it very clear what my expectations are, then it's up to you as to whether you abide by them or break them. If you break them, there will be disciplinary action. Okay, and I make no bones about that. You know that there will be action taken against you because I won't tolerate it. And you also know, I shouldn't have to say this, but I'm going to say it to make sure it's very clear to everybody that there is a stage 4. And if you get to stage 4, you're in front of me, and once you're in front of me, we're looking at exclusion, whether that be full time and you never come back to my school, or whether it's for a fixed term for you to reflect and change your behaviour. And that stage for discipline policy then is for things such as non-compliance, not doing what staff tell you to do, swearing, bullying, or using illegal substances, alcohol, or smoking on site. It's really simple, the rules. You're very, very clear about what my expectations are, so I recommend thoroughly that you follow them. Being at KMS is a privilege, and with privilege that brings responsibility. And that responsibility is for you to behave in a manner which is appropriate and befitting a member of our family. School uniform is something that obviously has changed slightly over COVID, and we're going to continue to keep no tie and the no blazer rule. And I can tell you now that won't change until September 2021. The reason for that is not just COVID, but also we're going to be heading to the warm weather. So I think we'll keep the no tie and no blazer policy until we come back in the autumn term. So make sure then that doesn't represent poor uniform decisions though. You should still have your shirts tucked in. You should still look smart and be proud of wearing the uniform which identifies you as a member of our family and our school. My biggest disappointment has been a PE kit, and a lot of you have taken advantage with a PE kit. Well, that stops from this term onwards. You come to school in PE kit if you have games or PE, because you can't change on site. So you come in your full PE kit, but it has to be the KMS PE kit. I don't want to see leggings, which are non-school uniform ones, hoodies or t-shirts, which are logoed or labelled without the KMS logo. That won't be acceptable. If you come into school in PE kit, which is not school uniform, you'll be sent home to change. Okay, and there's not going to be an allowance on that. That's the expectation. If, and as I know some of you may have grown out of your PE kit, then you need to talk to your parents and get on School Blazer and order a new one straight away. A letter needs to be sent in by mum or dad explaining that you've ordered a new PE kit and the expected arrival date for that, for which we will monitor carefully. And you need to come into school then wearing an appropriate coloured alternative. That means blue leggings, navy blue. That means a plain blue t-shirt or a plain blue hoodie, and that will only be tolerated for a short period of time while your new PE kit is delivered. Now, obviously, with the COVID guidelines, I sent out a booklet. You can see it in the slide here to all your parents before the end of term, explaining to pupils what the new COVID regulations in school will look like. I'm not going to go through the booklet. You should have read it over the 2 weeks you had off and holiday, and your tutors will be taking you through it and reminding you of key points within it. The ones I want you to reflect on, though, and make sure that you're fully aware of, is that face masks need to be worn around the school, on school transport, and in the corridors. That has to be adhered to, and that's part of the Welsh Government telling us we need to do that. You must socially distance as pupils. I don't want you to see you hugging and walking around in big gangs together. You must socially distance 2 meters apart around corridors and in the canteen. In classrooms, there's a metre apart, and you stick to your seating plan. You sit where your member of staff tells you to sit, and you stay there. You don't walk around the classroom. You should ensure good hygiene for your hands and also for wiping down your own equipment. Wipes are available throughout the school, hand stations are available, and you should be washing your hands for 20 seconds at minimum, or using this hand gel sanitizers that are provided around the school every time you come in and out of school, transfer from classroom to classroom, or come out to the toilet. You must make sure you're using the one-way system, and when you are walking down the corridor, please keep to the left-hand side of the corridor to make sure then you're not bumping into people who may be coming in and out of classrooms. Always walk on the left. Now, as you know, beforehand, we had temporary hub classroom set up where you stayed in the same classroom and the teachers came to you. Now, of course, that creates problems because we haven't got access to specialist equipment for some of our lessons. And as such, what I've done is suspended hub classrooms for the time being. So the timetable will go back to normal, where pupils will move around from class to class to be where the teachers are being. Your registration, as you can see today, is going to be in your teacher's teaching room, and therefore you will move around the school. As such, this is going to require you making sure you're following the COVID rules even more rigorously because there'll be more movement around the school. Mrs. Bracken, who's my cleaner supervisor, and her staff will be around cleaning throughout the day, and they need to make sure they're not being disturbed, jostled or pushed when you're moving around the building. So you need to take care of staff as they go about their jobs, and that's why the one-way system is in place. You also make sure that if you have to line up for a lesson because there's a class in there already, that you actually line up socially separated by a minimum of 1 metre in order to actually wait for that class. And you're not jostling together, making a noise and disrupting lessons. Summer examinations are coming now this term, and you've got to make sure you're all prepared for those and ready to work with them. And our focus is going to be Key Stage 4 and Post 16 initially, as prepare for their centre determined grades. Now, these pupils have to create a portfolio of 10 pieces of work by May the 28th, and from the 4th of May, they're going to be in exams in the hall, getting their assessments ready and prepared for these CDGs. As such, I'm going to require complete and utter silence around the school while these assessments are going on. Not all pupils will be in the hall. We'll be using classrooms such as the Link and other specialist rooms. And therefore, you must make sure you're watching out for signs that say no entry or to keep silent. I will not tolerate anybody in school disrupting the learning, teaching, or assessment of these pupils. You'll just be sent home. So it's really important you follow these rules and you make sure you give these pupils the very best chance they can over the forthcoming months for the creation of their portfolios. You'll all understand what it's like to be in exams because from the 7th of June, when we return after half term, you'll all be sitting exams yourself for years 6 to 10. And that's it. Really simple, really straightforward. It's wonderful to have you back. And what I want to do is make sure that we can ensure your success moving forward. And we ensure success through 3 simple rules. You work hard, you work together, and enjoy what you do. One of the things I was taught when I was doing my A-levels by my teacher, Mrs. Larson, who was a real big influence on me, was if you fail to plan, then you will plan to fail. And that's a really important point. Make sure you ask if you need help. Make sure you're talking to us if you require support. Because if you don't ask and you don't for help, then you won't understand. And we won't know that you need help. It's really important we all work together and we all engage with each other. Welcome back. It's going to be a lovely summer term. I really can't wait for some of the exciting things we've got coming up over the forthcoming time. And I look forward to seeing you all around school today. Take care.